Have you ever met someone who carries a profound sense of calm, even when the world around them is in chaos? They don't need to shout to be heard. Their presence speaks volumes. This quiet dignity is often misunderstood in a world that equates loudness with power. But the truth is, the most formidable individuals aren't always the ones making the most noise. If you've ever felt overlooked or underestimated because you choose peace over confrontation, this is for you. This video is about to unlock a perspective that could change how you see strength, resilience, and the true nature of faith. Before we dive in, take a moment to comment below with, "I love Allah." It's a simple act, but it connects us and reminds us of the source of all strength. Don't miss out on this journey of understanding. Your perspective is about to shift. Fear of Allah, the foundation of unshakable calm. Imagine a lion. It doesn't need to constantly roar to assert its dominance. Its power is inherent, understood by all who encounter it. Similarly, true believers, those deeply connected to their faith, often possess a quiet strength that stems from their profound reverence for Allah. In a world that often mistakes gentleness for weakness, their soft-spoken demeanor, their willingness to let things go, and their ability to remain calm even when wronged can be baffling. But this isn't born of fear. It's born of a different kind of power, a strength forged in the crucible of self-discipline and a deep-seated awe of the divine. Their patience isn't a sign of weakness. It's a reservoir of loaded power. They aren't easily triggered. They don't explode in anger at the slightest provocation. And they often choose silence in moments where others would erupt. This isn't because they are afraid of confrontation, but because they have already submitted their will to the one who holds absolute control over everything. Their fear of Allah is a pure, conscious reverence that purifies their hearts of all other fears. They aren't driven by the need to impress others. They aren't consumed by the desire for approval. And they are certainly not swayed by the fickle opinions of people who can't even control their own emotions. When you try to test their limits, when you hurl insults or push them to the brink, they don't react in the way you might expect. They don't lose control because their patience isn't a lack of strength. It's a deliberate act of restraint. It's a loaded power held in reserve. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that true strength isn't about overpowering others, but about controlling oneself in moments of anger. This is the fundamental difference. Most people react out of a desire to win the immediate moment, to have the last word, to assert their dominance. But true believers are focused on a higher purpose, on the eternal outcome. They choose silence, not because they are incapable of speaking up, but because they are holding back for the sake of Allah. This kind of self-control is rare and often unsettling to those who are driven by their egos, because they instinctively understand that this kind of strength doesn't need a loud voice to be real. It's a quiet, unwavering power that stems from a source beyond worldly validation. Protecting the truth, a line that cannot be crossed. One of the most striking characteristics of those sincerely striving to follow the path of faith is their remarkable ability to let personal offenses slide. They aren't quick to jump into arguments, and they rarely fight for their own honor. Again, this isn't because they are weak or scared. It's because they have trained their hearts to forgive, to move on, and to not take every slight personally. They understand that their worth isn't defined by the opinions or actions of others. However, this doesn't mean they are naive or passive observers of injustice. While they may absorb personal insults with grace, they will not stand idly by when the truth is under attack, when someone distorts the teachings of their faith, when they spread falsehoods, manipulate others, or perpetuate injustice. That same quiet believer becomes a force to be reckoned with. The fire in their chest, the sudden inability to remain silent, isn't born of ego, it's born of faith, doing what it is divinely ordained to do. Allah tells us in the Quran that the believers are the best community brought forth for humanity, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. This is the core of their mission. True believers don't react explosively to personal affronts, but they will not remain silent when the boundaries of truth are crossed. They are not seeking to win petty arguments. They are striving to live in a way that safeguards the things that are beloved to Allah. And that is where their strength truly lies. They are gentle until gentleness is no longer an option in the face of injustice. Then, without anger or chaos, they speak, they act, they stand firm, because sometimes the most powerful person in the room isn't the one shouting the loudest, but the one who remained calm until the truth itself was under threat. Their response isn't fueled by fleeting emotion, it's guided by principle, by a deep commitment to upholding what is right. Accountability to Allah, the ultimate motivation for silence. There are moments in life when you have every right to speak up, to defend yourself, to retaliate. When someone disrespects you, lies about you, twists your words, or crosses a line that feels deeply violating, the natural human instinct is to react, to unleash the anger simmering within. Your ego cries out for justice, your pride demands vindication, and your heart yearns to be seen and heard. But for those who live with a constant awareness of their accountability to Allah, a different impulse takes over. They choose silence, not out of fear of the person who has wronged them, but out of a profound awareness of the day when they will stand alone before their Creator. It's the day when every word spoken, every action taken will be laid bare. The day when every insult will be accounted for, every reaction recorded. In those challenging moments, they hold themselves back, not to appear strong in the eyes of others, not to prove a point, but because the only thing that truly matters in that instant is how their response will weigh on the day they stand alone with their book of deeds. This isn't weakness. It's an extraordinary clarity of purpose. Allah reminds us in the Quran to fear the day when we will be returned to Him, when every soul will be fully compensated for what it earned, and none will be wrong. For some individuals, this verse is a constant companion, a guiding principle that shapes their every interaction. It's the reason they choose silence over shouting, prayer over revenge, and peace over proving themselves right. They understand that in the end, it's not the loudest voice that prevails, but the one that feared Allah enough to walk away even when the world expected them to fight back. This inner compass, calibrated to the divine, is a source of immense strength and resilience, allowing them to navigate the complexities of human interaction with grace and dignity. Independence from worldly needs, a shield against manipulation. It's a simple truth. You can't control someone who doesn't need anything from you. In a world driven by the pursuit of external validation, praise, attention, approval, It's easy to manipulate others. You identify what someone craves and you use it to exert influence. You reward them when they conform and punish them when they deviate. But a heart anchored firmly in Allah is a force impervious to such manipulation. It isn't chasing anyone's approval. It isn't waiting to be seen or liked. It is already full, connected to the one who is complete and unchanging. Some individuals aren't arrogant. They are simply not desperate for external validation. And this inherent independence is profoundly unsettling to those who rely on manipulation to feel powerful. Try to use silence to punish them. They are content in their own company. Try to ignore them. They weren't seeking your attention in the first place. Try to threaten them. They have already surrendered to the one who holds dominion over life and death. Allah describes this unwavering trust beautifully in the Quran. Accept what Allah has written for us. He is our protector, and in Allah let the believers place their trust. When someone lives with this profound certainty, this deep conviction in Allah's plan, you cannot emotionally own them. You cannot manipulate them with promises of reward or the sting of guilt. A soul that depends solely on Allah is not shaken by the fleeting offerings of those who offer less than the divine. Their strength lies in their detachment from the need for external validation, making them truly free and unyielding in their faith, rising above the games, the silence of spiritual maturity. There is a certain kind of silence that doesn't stem from fear or confusion. It arises from a deep well of experience and spiritual maturity. Not everyone chooses to fight back, not because they lack the ability to respond, but because they have been down that road before. They have been drawn into arguments that led nowhere. They have tried to prove themselves to minds already made up. They have attempted to explain themselves to those who only listen to formulate a rebuttal. And somewhere along the way, a quiet realization settled within them. Done. This isn't a surrender born of defeat, but a transcendence born of growth. In a world that thrives on ego, attention-seeking, one-upmanship, and constant retaliation, choosing silence isn't a sign of weakness. It's an indicator of profound emotional maturity. And make no mistake, this choice is noticed. The person who refuses to engage in the drama, who doesn't return insults, who walks away without flinching, becomes an enigma to those who rely on conflict to feel powerful. They are dangerous, not because they are aggressive, but because you realize, often too late, that you cannot control someone who is no longer playing the same game as you. Allah describes the servants of the Most Merciful as those who walk on the earth humbly, and when the ignorant address them, they say, peace. This verse doesn't depict weakness or ignorance of the situation. It simply highlights their choice. The choice of peace, of elevation. But if that same individual who has spent a lifetime mastering the art of silence is finally pushed to a point where silence condones injustice, their response will not be emotional, it will be intentional, guided by unwavering principle rather than fleeting pride. This is what sets them apart. This is what makes them truly formidable. My dear brothers and sisters, remember this: kindness is not weakness. Patience is not passivity, and silence is not surrender. Some of the most powerful individuals you will ever encounter are those who speak the least. They will allow you to talk, to judge, to assume they are soft, naive, or even afraid. all while quietly embodying a level of discipline that most people never attain. True strength isn't always displayed in how loud someone is, but in how long they have held their tongue for the sake of Allah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us a simple yet profound principle that encapsulates everything we've discussed. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him speak good or remain silent. This is the code. Believers don't strive for attention. They don't seek control. They choose silence when it preserves peace, and speak only when the truth is being suppressed. So if you have ever felt overlooked because you are the quiet one, or misunderstood because you walk away instead of fighting back, never for a moment think that Allah has not seen your strength. If this reminder has resonated with your heart, take a moment now to comment this short prayer below. Ya make my silence sincere and my strength guided by you. Your comment might be the very reminder someone else needs to understand that calm isn't weakness. And remember, liking and subscribing costs nothing, but it helps spread these reminders that can protect someone's patience, peace, and perhaps even their eternal journey. May Allah fill your character with mercy, your heart with discipline, and your silence with light. Ameen. Don't be left out of this community of strength and peace. Comment I love Allah and become a part of something beautiful.